Alrighty everyone, I am back with another chapter of empathy, chapter 24, hard to do, and if I'm gonna be honest, I don't really think I'm gonna get recording on this story done before the end of the year, but I will have it done before the end of May 2019, so don't worry, I'm not stopping just yet, there's still a long way to go. In the last chapter, Hiro and the others decided to get some upgrades and finally become the superhero team that they were born to be, or possibly born to be, in order to take down the man in the mask that they now named Yokai. Hiro, wasn't really feeling too good around Riley, and I think we all know the reason. So, without further ado, and I'll be missing some stuff here in the recap, but just watch the video. Let's read. The afternoon sun had started to dip down towards the horizon as Riley, Tip, Fred, Wasabi, Honey, and Gogo sat together on a set of Fred's patio furniture near the house. "This is so cool!" Fred exclaimed excitedly, his voice muffled by his kaiju suit. "Yeah," Wasabi agreed before he stood up and began pulling at the seat of his pants. "Though, is anyone else's suit riding up on them?" As the others chuckled at the comment, Hiro came running into view from around a corner. "Hey guys!" Hiro's voice called, bringing everyone's attention towards it. They all spotted Hiro standing a short distance away. Now dressed in blue armor, the armor is purple, with red highlights over a black bodysuit, though the most noticeable thing was that the gloves of his suit were disproportionately large compared to the rest of his armor. Okay, am I colorblind? Because I could swear that in the movie and in the TV show, Big Hero 6's series, Hiro's armor is purple, not blue. But I guess it could be blue if you want. Anyway, "Come check this out," Hiro requested as he beckoned to them, prompting the group to follow him to a different part of Fred's backyard. Rounding a corner, the group stopped short as they found the upgraded Baymax standing before them. He was now dressed in bright red armor with blue highlights. Unlike his previous armor, this one did not mold the Baymax's normally pudgy form. Instead, this one appeared to give him a broad, muscular frame, making Baymax seem tall, confident, and imposing. Just like a mixture of Iron Man and Superman. Wow. Although this armor doesn't really come with an energy shield, so I'm a bit disappointed about that, but either way, still cool. "Ta-das!" O called as he stepped out from around Baymax, indicating towards the robot with his outstretched arms while smiling broadly at the group. "May I be introducing the Baymax 2.0! A silence fell over the group as they looked at the new and improved Baymax with surprise. "Whoa!" Joy gasped. "He's glorious!" Fred whispered in awe. As the others continued to look on, a butterfly happened to flit by Baymax's face. Instantly, Baymax's posture changed to a more relaxed, non-threatening stance as he followed the butterfly's path with his eyes. As it began to fly away from him, Baymax turned and started to follow the butterfly, prompting Hiro to step in front of him. I guess when you're becoming a powerful super robot, you still have the old quirks. "Whoa, hold up!" Hiro exclaimed, causing Baymax to stop and look down at him. "Focus. Let's show these guys what you can do." "The fist!" O requested with giddy excitement. "Be showing them the fists!" "Good idea," Hiro agreed with a nod before looking up at the robot. "Show them the fist, Baymax." Taking a wide stance, Baymax held out one arm with his hand clenched into a fist. "Ba-la-la-la," Baymax said as he wiggled his fingers, earning snorts of laughter from the group. "No, not that," Hiro explained with a chuckle. "The other thing." Seemingly understanding, Baymax looked down at his arm. As he did, 4 small thruster engines, similar to the ones that had been built into Wasabi's van, rose out of panels built into the armor. Blue light slowly grew in intensity at the end of the thrusters, before the armored fist went flying off his arm and shooting through the air. The fist shot across the grounds, heading in a straight line towards a statue sitting near the edge of the property. Not only did the fist shatter the statue into 1,000 pieces upon impact, it also continued on and slammed into the stone wall behind it, punching through it and leaving a sizable hole in its wake. "Whoa!" Tip exclaimed in surprise. "That was so cool!" Joy exclaimed. "Rocket Fist makes Freddy so happy!" Fred squealed as he began bouncing on his toes while the Rocket Fist returned itself to Baymax's outstretched hand. "That's just one of his new upgrades," Hiro stated before turning his attention towards the robot. "Baymax! Wings!" At Hiro's command, a pair of rigid, metallic wings suddenly sprung out of Baymax's back. "What?" Fred exclaimed. "No way!" "Yes way!" Running around to Baymax's back, Hiro flexed his gloves, which caused red glowing rings to spring into life on the palms. Hopping up, he slapped the gloves onto Baymax's back, causing him to stick to the robot's armor with a metallic clang. Pulling himself up, Hiro then clicked his heels together, causing a pair of similar rings to appear on the soles of his shoes, allowing him to stick to Baymax's armor as well. "Alright, buddy," Hiro said as he pulled himself up so he could look over Baymax's shoulders. "Thrusters!" Immediately, Baymax straightened before the glowing blue energy of the thrusters Hiro and O had been using sprung into life from the bottom of the robot's feet, causing him to start hovering a few inches off the ground. "I fail to see how flying makes me a better healthcare companion," Baymax stated as he looked over his shoulder at Hiro. "Are you serious, Mr. Marshmallow Man? I fail to see how you fail to see that it's awesome!" Hiro replied with a laugh before he pointed straight up. "Full thrust!" Baymax turned his attention skyward as the energy from the thrusters increased. However, just as he was about to launch upwards, Baymax lost his balance and tipped forward, sending him and Hiro rocketing across the ground towards the others. Yelling in surprise, most of the others dove out of the way while Fred easily hopped over Baymax and Hiro, allowing the two to pass underneath him. Turning to watch Hiro and Baymax, the others saw the robot attempt to regain control of himself, digging a deep furrow into the lawn as he turned the two of them around, accidentally shooting them higher into the air. As they went racing back towards the ocean, Baymax became more unstable, flipping upside down as he shot above the others' heads, leaving them helpless as Hiro and the robot flew towards the city. After a few moments of struggling, Baymax managed to right himself. "Alright, big guy," Hiro said cautiously as he looked down at Baymax. "Why don't we take this nice and slow?" "Yeah, that would be a very good idea right now." Looking up, Hiro saw that they were quickly careening towards a giant advertisement built onto the top of a restaurant. "Up, up, 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 up!" Hiro screamed. "Thrust, thrust, thrust!" Half a second before they collided with the advertisement, Baymax seemed to get his feet underneath himself, and they suddenly went shooting straight up into the air, Hiro letting out a terrified shout as they ascended. "Ah! Too much thrust! Too much thrust!" Hiro cried over the whipping winds that tried to drag him back down towards the earth. "Too much thrust!" In response, after having shot several hundred feet into the air, Baymax suddenly shut off his thrusters, their momentum carrying them towards the Torii Gate Bridge as they began plummeting towards the ground. "No, no, no, no!" Hiro shouted in terror as they fell towards the busy bridge. "Back on, back on!" Baymax quickly did as he was instructed, reactivating his thrusters a few feet above the asphalt, sending them shooting through the air, just above the cars zooming past below them. Seeing that they were rapidly approaching an oncoming box truck, Hiro began to desperately try and direct Baymax upwards. "Up!" Hiro shouted over the whipping winds and the blaring of car horns. "Up, up, up!" Directing himself upwards, Baymax shot just over the box truck before climbing up towards one of the iconic gates that held the bridge aloft, Hiro laughing with exhilaration as they soared through the air. Shutting off his thrusters, Baymax came to a safe stop on top of one of the gates. Oh man, Hiro said with a chuckle as he fought to catch his breath while draping himself over Baymax's shoulder. Maybe this is enough flying for today. Turning his head, Baymax regarded Hiro for a moment. What do you say, buddy? Hiro questioned as he looked Baymax in the eye. Your neurotransmitter levels are rising steadily, Baymax observed. Which means what? Hiro questioned cautiously, his brow furrowing in confusion. The treatment is working, Baymax replied simply, before he leaned to the side and began tipping off the side of the gate. Oh no! Hiro squeaked as it began to plummet towards the bay. No! Ah! Hiro let out a scream as they fell towards the choppy waters. A second before they hit the water, Baymax suddenly activated his thrusters, sending the two of them skidding across the surface of the bay, waves shooting up in their wake. Quickly catching his breath, a smile began to spread across his features as the exhilaration of flying took hold of him. Yes! Hiro shouted as they rocketed back towards the city. Woo! Shooting over the residential areas, Hiro and Baymax quickly flew towards downtown San Francisco. Weaving their way through the towering skyscrapers, Hiro couldn't help but marvel as he saw the city from angles he had never even imagined. Laughing as Baymax zipped under bridges and around advertisements, Hiro couldn't help but smile, beaming at his reflection whenever he caught sight of it in one of the reflective glass sides of the surrounding skyscrapers. Eventually, Baymax and Hiro settled onto one of the floating generators that hung above the city, sitting side by side as they watched the sun start to dip below the horizon. Wow, Hiro whispered with reverent awe. That was sick, Baymax suggested. Yeah, Hiro replied with a chuckle. That's right, buddy. Your emotional state has improved, Baymax observed as he looked down at Hiro. I can deactivate if you say you are satisfied with your care. What? Hiro questioned in confusion before shaking his head. No, I don't want you to deactivate. We still have to find yokai. So, fire up that super sensor. Standing up, Baymax turned his attention towards San Francisco, which spread out before him. As he looked at the city, the screen of his visor flashed green as he activated the scanner. Functionality improved, Baymax stated as he slowly shifted his gaze across the cityscape. 1000% increase in range. Baymax had fell silent for a few moments as he slowly looked over the entire city. Finally, a soft beat came from Baymax, and he lifted his arm to point. I have found a match, Baymax stated, on that island. Looking in the direction that Baymax was pointing, Hiro's brow furrowed in confusion as his eyes fell on the large island jutting out of the middle of the bay. You're sure he's there? Hiro questioned as he turned back towards Baymax. On that island? The chance that my scan was incorrect is less than 1,000%, Baymax informed him. Well, then we better go get the others, Hiro informed him before climbing up onto Baymax's back. Let's go! Wordlessly acknowledging Hiro's command, Baymax activated his thrusters and shot back into the sky, carrying the two of them back towards Fred's mansion. So, does this mean we're actually getting the name of the island that Yokai was on in the film? Meanwhile, back at Fred's house, the others were still gathered on his lawn, with Riley standing near the edge of the property, looking out onto the bay as the sun painted the sky in oranges and purples. Oranges and purples are lovely. They're a great mixed color. Orange is made from red and yellow. Purple is made from red and blue. As she watched the sinking sun, Gogo skated up next to her. You know, I'm getting tired of that glum look on your face, Gogo commented with a smirk. It's not a good look for you. Riley smirked at the comment, but it quickly fell away as she looked up at Gogo. Oh, we're getting a nice moment between these two. That's so good. You think they're okay? Riley questioned worriedly. I'm sure they're fine, Gogo answered with a dismissive wave of her hand. Hiro's a tough kid, and Baymax wouldn't let anything happen to him, even if the kid had strapped space rockets to his feet. I guess you're right, Riley said with a nod, though her expression remained worried. I can tell this is not the only thing that's bothering you, Gogo pointed out. So why don't you just spit it out? Well, I guess we might as well say something, Sandus commented. I'm fine, it's just... Riley paused to sigh. I feel like something's bothering Hiro. Well, we are going after the guy who killed his brother, Gogo suggested. I think that would bother anybody. I know, it's just... Riley sighed again as she struggled to put what she wanted to say into words. He's been acting weird to me in particular. It feels like he's trying to avoid me and keep me at arm's length. The kid has a lot on his plate, Gogo argued gently as she leaned down closer to Riley. With everything that's happened to him, I think he just wants to keep the people he cares about safe. But that's what I'm afraid of, Riley replied. He's tried to do this sort of thing before, like when he tried to keep you all from being involved in this. From what I can tell, pushing people away is pretty standard when it comes to dealing with tragedy, Gogo stated. Speaking of which, Joy muttered. Right, Riley replied before her eyes dropped down and she tucked a straight strand of hair behind her ear. Can I ask you something? Sure, Gogo replied with a nod. What's up? There was a short pause as Riley considered her words. What's she gonna say? What's going on between you and Wasabi? Riley questioned. Going on? Gogo asked in confusion, though Riley could tell she was trying to hide the surprise she felt at the question. Why would you... Gogo cut herself off as she saw the pointed look that Riley was giving her. Seriously? Disgust questioned. Psychic powers, Gogo muttered with an annoyed sigh. Right. There was another pause as Gogo took a deep breath. Wasabi... He likes me, Gogo stated before shrugging uncomfortably. You know, really likes me. Do you like him? Riley questioned. I guess, Gogo replied, cringing as she spoke. So what's going on between you two? Riley inquired. Ever since the fire, you two have been acting weird towards each other. Riley, I'm getting the feeling that you need to be a bit more sensitive. You've noticed us asking weird, Gogo questioned. Is that obvious? Probably not, Riley assured her with a shrug. I think I've just noticed because of my powers. So, what happened between you two? After the fire, we were both feeling pretty down, Gogo explained. So I guess we comforted each other. What does that mean? Joy questioned. What, like you kissed and stuff? Riley questioned, her expression perplexed. And stuff sums it up pretty well, Gogo answered with a smirk. Wait a second. Disgust whispered as realization dawned on Riley. Did you guys have... Riley began as she gasped loudly before she could quickly drop her voice to a whisper while she nervously glanced around. Did you guys have sex? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know, because the chapters certainly show them having slept with each other, but I don't recall anything about them doing the all in, out, and out. Oh my god. Gogo groaned as she buried her face in her hands and laughed. I forget how young you are sometimes. I literally thought Gogo was gonna blow her top there. That is legit private stuff, you know. Private sex life. Hey! Anger snapped defensively. I'm old enough to talk about, you know. Riley paused as she glanced around nervously. a blush spreading across her features as she dropped her voice to a whisper again. You know, sex. Yeah, that's probably right, and I've got to be careful because the cars of doom have arrived, and I must be careful. You can't even say the word without acting like someone's going to come and arrest you, Gogo pointed out. Well, true. Very true. Okay, fine, maybe I can't talk about this stuff, Riley relented. I still don't understand why this means you and Wasabi are being weird to each other. Riley! I made it safely across the road. I think you should, stop for just a while. Because he wants more, Gogo explained with a sigh. More? Riley questioned in confusion. Like to be your boyfriend or something? Yeah, pretty much, Gogo confirmed with a nod. Then what's the problem? Riley pushed. I thought you just said that you like Wasabi. Riley, I know this is a sensitive thing, but since Tadashi's death, she's been blaming herself and going to the gym and, well, she'll probably explain it to you a bit, but the long story short is, she doesn't think anything between her and Wasabi can work right now. I do. I'm just... Gogo let out another frustrated sigh. I'm no good for him. What are you talking about? Riley questioned in confusion. You're awesome. Thanks, Fargo, Gogo replied with a snort of amusement. But the truth of the matter is I've never been good with people. That's why I'm an engineer. I would drive him crazy, I'm sure. Or you two could compliment each other, I'm sure. What is she talking about? Anger questioned. Riley's face was still a picture of confusion as she looked at Gogo and tried to process what the young woman meant. As she did, Riley noticed a smoldering bit of fear that Gogo was trying to keep hidden. You're afraid of something, Riley observed. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid of... Gogo began before Riley gave her an annoyed look. You know, it's really aggravating that I can't lie to you about my feelings like a normal person. I guess you're just going to have to learn to deal with me, Riley replied as she continued to give Gogo a hard look. What are you afraid of? Jeez, I feel like I should be paying you for my therapy, Gogo huffed. Riley would make an excellent therapist with her powers. I think. Yuri, Riley said firmly. Oh, Riley called Gogo Yuri, it's getting serious. Fine, you know what, fine. Gogo growled in frustration as she glared down at Riley. It's because I don't want to get hurt. Is that what you wanted me to say? I'm afraid of getting hurt just like everyone else. There was a pause as Gogo and Riley looked at one another for a quiet moment. This is because of what happened to Tadashi, isn't it? Riley questioned quietly. I've never been good at making friends, Gogo stated as she turned her attention towards the ocean. If you couldn't tell, I'm a little standoffish. You've always gotten along with me fine, Riley pointed out. You're different, Fargo, Gogo said with a small sigh, before she looked over at Riley and gave her a small smile. You always reminded me of myself. Riley couldn't help but smile slightly at the comment. What I'm trying to say is I've never had a lot of friends, Gogo explained. So losing a close one like that, it was tough. It was tough on all of us, Riley pointed out. I know, but the rest of you weren't in a position to stop him from running into that building, Gogo elaborated. I was. I could have stopped Tadashi if I wanted to, but I didn't. Now he's dead. Gogo, you can't blame yourself for that, Riley said, as she looked up at the young woman sadly. That's exactly what Wasabi said. Sure I can, Gogo argued, and I can make sure that it doesn't happen again. I could have saved Tadashi if I had hurt him, and I could do the same for Wasabi. That's not the same thing, Gogo, Riley replied, her expression stricken. I don't really know much about relationships, but I can tell what you and Wasabi feel for each other is genuine. Even if it ends up you guys didn't want to be boyfriend and girlfriend, it can't hurt that much to not bother trying. You're right, Fargo, Gogo stated as she chuckled in dark amusement as she turned her attention back towards the ocean. You don't know much about relationships. That wasn't what she was getting at, though. As she looked out over the darkening waters, Gogo glanced up as she noticed something flying through the air above the bay. Come on, Gogo stated as she nodded back towards the mansion. Let's go find the others. Looks like your boyfriend is back. Oh boy. As Gogo turned away from the bay and made her way back up towards the mansion, Riley took a moment to look up at the sky where she was able to see Baymax's flying form, causing her to bite her lower lip in worry. Well, Fear sighed with a sigh. That went great. I must confess, I read a bit of this moment before actually getting to it. It's been such a long time. And, please excuse me if I get frustrated with this bit. I'm sure it'll frustrate you too, but it's all understandable. I'll try and keep my frustration reined in. If I fail, I'm completely sorry. A short while later, the others had gathered around Hiro and Baymax as twilight began settling in around them. Oh, Twilight Sparkle is making an appearance. Ugh. No MLP stuff, kid. Masked Ranger outfit. Bah! You're sure about this? Wasabi questioned, quirking an eyebrow at Hiro. Baymax is certain, Hiro replied, and he is a robot. He's becoming more than the robot, though. So, Yokai is hiding out on Akuma Island? Honey questioned, a look of disbelief on her face. Akuma Island? Oh, so that was the island's name. Okay. It would appear so, Baymax commented. Don't know why it says honey there. It should really say Baymax, Finmonster. Akuma Island? Riley questioned. Isn't it the island of the inescapable prison? It was, Gogo confirmed. But they closed it down decades ago. Now it's a tourist destination. Most days there's a ferry that goes there every half an hour. So why would Yokai set up his evil base of operations in such a public place? Tip questioned. Maybe it's a hide in plain sight kind of thing, Fred suggested. It should be noted that some areas of Akuma Island are restricted from public access due to government mandate, Baymax stated. I think the blowing wind is very appropriate for this epic meeting moment. Restricted access? Hiro questioned in confusion. What for? I do not know, Baymax answered. That information is also restricted. This just keeps getting weirder and weirder, Wasabi commented. Whatever the government is doing on the island doesn't matter, Hiro spoke up. Maybe it's part of Yokai's plans and maybe it isn't. What matters is that we know he's there, so let's go take him down. Big Hero 9! Aren't you forgetting something? Tip spoke up as she crossed her arms and quirked an eyebrow at Hiro. Big Hero 6. Wait. Hiro mumbled in confusion as he looked at Tip. What? Hiro, you still haven't equipped me yet, Riley pointed out. How can I help if I'm not equipped? Oh, right. Hiro replied as Riley felt fear and trepidation build up in him. Look, Riley, I was thinking... No way, Disgust said in shock as Hiro spoke. He's actually trying to bench us! We don't know he's trying to do that, Joy argued nervously. Don't be naive, Anger admonished. He's doing exactly that! Oh my god, Riley interrupted him, her tone a combination of shock and disgust. You were never going to build anything for me. You were planning on leaving me here from the beginning. I wasn't, Hiro began before hissing in pain as he felt a burning sensation in his head. Of course you were! Riley snapped as she glared daggers at Hiro. What did I tell you about lying to me? Riley broke her glare as she felt someone place a hand on her shoulder. Turning, Riley found Tip standing next to her, giving her a worried look. Easy, Riley, Tip said calmly. No need to fry anyone's brain yet. Her eyes widening, Riley turned her attention back to Hiro, watching as the boy removed his helmet and rubbed his temples in pain. Glancing at the others, Riley couldn't help but notice the slight waves of fear being directed at her, which caused her to blush with embarrassment. Power incontinence is a thing. A bad thing, but it's a thing. They think we're a freak, Fear whispered. No, they don't, Joy argued. They're our friends. They already knew about our powers. That was before we figured out how to boil people's brains, Anger pointed out. Sorry, Riley muttered as she looked down at her feet and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Don't worry about it, Hiro replied as he sighed and ran a gloved hand through his messy hair. I'm literally struggling here for some reason. Look, Riley, this guy, he's dangerous. I know that, Hiro, Riley stated as she lifted her head to look at him again. I was there last night, too. I know you were, Riley, Hiro said, his voice becoming more heated as he spoke. I watched you almost die, remember? So did the rest of us, Riley argued as she gestured at the others. Are you really going to single me out just because you like me? Of course I am, Hiro exclaimed incredulously. Why wouldn't I? You were the one who said that my pain was greater after Tadashi died because he was my brother. Why wouldn't I be worried that you getting hurt or killed would hurt me the same way? There was a long pause as Riley stared at Hiro, her brows furrowing in confusion. Oh my god, Joy whispered. Are you really that selfish? Riley questioned in quiet shock. What? Hiro asked, the question causing him to physically rock back in confusion. Selfish? How am I being selfish? I'm trying to protect you. Yeah, Riley agreed with a nod, her tone never changing. But you're trying to protect me for your own sake, not for mine. You're worried that if something happens to me, it will hurt you. What? Hiro replied, shaking his head as he tried to form a coherent argument against what Riley had said. That's not... I didn't mean that. That's exactly what you meant, Hiro, Riley said, her tone growing colder. Ever since Tadashi died, you've been pushing people away because you've been afraid of being hurt. I thought you had been getting better, but I was wrong. You just found a way to hide what you were doing. If trying to protect you is selfish, then fine, I'll be selfish, Hiro snarled. You're not coming. You don't get to make that decision, Riley replied as her eyes narrowed. I don't see how I don't, Hiro argued. You can't go into this fight without any kind of equipment, and I don't plan on making you any. Hiro, I'm sorry to say this right now, but at this moment in time, you are being a jerk! And I'm sorry to say it, but it's true, he's being a jerk. I know he's suffering from Tadashi's death, but it's no excuse for him to treat Riley this way. Keep it in, keep it in, keep it in! I'm seriously gonna go on a rant if I don't keep this Riley let out a frustrated, exasperated noise before she turned her attention towards the others. Are you guys just going to stand there and let him do this? Riley questioned as she gave the 4 young adults hard looks. And where's O? Is he with the others? I think he is with the others. I don't know if it's the wrong thing to do, Fargo. Gogo spoke up, trying to give Riley an even look, but the girl could feel the unease and sadness in the young woman. What? Riley snapped, her anger flaring. Yeah, wait, hold on a second, Fred said as he stepped up next to Gogo. Are we seriously thinking about leaving Fargo behind? Because I'm not on board with that. She's just a kid, Fred, Gogo argued. We can't go dragging her into this. A kid with psychic powers that helped out on multiple occasions, or at least the occasions where you guys met when Yokai attacked the van. Well, she's basically the moral support. She helped out even before the fire. Christ! Are you really trying to protect her for her sake or yours? But we can bring Hiro and Tip, Fred replied. Confusion cleared his voice even though his costume hid his face. Hell, we're barely adults ourselves. Fred has a point. And when the comic geek has a point, you know that this is one time or one of many times agreeing with reality. This is different, Gogo stated as she narrowed her eyes at Fred. How is it different? Okay, please remind me. Someone please remind me how that's different from before. I really don't see how it is, Fred shouted as he threw his hands into the air in exasperation. I mean, she's the only one of us that has actual superpowers. Tadashi was her friend, Honey added. She deserves to be there with us. Thank you, Honey Lemon! But can she handle it? Wasabi interjected. You remember the last time she was put into a stressful situation. Come on, Wasabi no Ginger! Yeah, I went over the nickname. You're still embarrassed about the Wasabi thing? Well, sorry, but I'm just putting that out. Wasabi no Ginger was your original name from the comics. I looked it up. You could look it up too if you want, guys. You could look it up too. Really, Wasabi? Riley questioned hotly. I'm standing right here, you know. Look, I'm sorry, Riley. Wasabi replied as he turned towards her and held his hands up in an attempt to keep her calm. But the last time you were in a situation like this, your powers got overwhelmed and you ended up practically catatonic. This isn't the same thing! Riley shouted. And even if it was, I've learned to control my power since then. Yeah, with Tai Chi and meditation. But we still don't know that it can't happen to you again, Wasabi argued. And if it happens again while we're fighting this guy, what will happen to you? Do we really want to put her at risk like that? Gogo questioned as she looked at Fred and Honey pointedly. Fred looked like he was about to argue, but it seemed like realization struck him, and his shoulders slumped in defeat. With a flabbergasted look plastered across her features, Riley looked at the 4 young adults standing before her. I can't believe this, Riley said after a moment, her voice barely louder than a whisper. You all think that I'm some kind of delicate flower that could fall apart at any moment. It's happened to you before, Riley. Wasabi tried to reason with her. It could happen. It happened once, Riley snarled. It happened on one of the worst days of my life, so if you're going to stand there and... Riley paused as she locked eyes with Gogo, tears threatening to spill down her cheeks. You're doing the same thing he is! Riley snapped. You're pushing me away so you don't get hurt! I thought you said it reminded you of yourself! You do, Fargo, Gogo replied quietly, almost sadly. And that's the problem. I can't... Riley, I'm sorry, but don't bother. Just don't bother. If it's their decision, we've got to be the grown-ups. We've got to respect their decision. Riley trailed off as she looked around at the others. She saw and felt Gogo and Wasabi's resolve, Honey and Fred's sadness, Hiro's fear and stubbornness, while Baymax stood impassively to the side. Glancing over at O, Riley saw that the booth had retreated away from the conversation, glancing nervously between his participants. The only thing she could take solace in was the anger that was radiating off of Tip. "We're not going to win this," Sadness said quietly. "Fine," Riley muttered as she ran her hands over her face to wipe away the tears that were forming in her eyes. "Fine. You guys win." "Good," Hiro said with a nod, a small smile spreading across his features. "I'm glad you can see that we're just trying to—" "Shut up!" Riley snapped, venom leaking out of her words. "All I see is that you're protecting yourself!" Hiro was so caught off guard by Riley's sudden change in demeanor that he couldn't muster any words to say in reply. "I tried to help you," Riley continued, her voice becoming somber as her gaze turned towards the others. Towards her feet. "I tried as best as I could, but you don't want my help. So, I'm done." "Done?" Hiro questioned in confusion. "Done helping you," Riley elaborated. "Done with all of this. Done with... I'm just done." Well, fine!" Hiro said, trying to regain some of his confidence. We don't need you anyway!" As a few of the others gave Hiro sharp looks, Riley only managed a rueful smile. "That's good to know," Riley said before she turned away from them and began walking away. "Riley?" Honey questioned with concern. "Riley, where are you going?" "Home," Riley answered as she continued walking away. "I'm sure my parents are wondering where I am." "Aren't you worried about yokai?" Fred questioned. "I'm sure you guys can handle them," Riley answered with a shrug as she kept walking. "Riley, wait!" Fred said as he started to move after her. "At least let me—" "Just let her go, Fred," Gogo spoke up, causing the young man to pause in his tracks. "Let her go?" Fred questioned as he turned back towards Gogo. "You wanted to walk home all by yourself?" Was Fred going to call a taxi for her? "She'll be fine," Gogo assured him. "It's not that far." "What's going on with you?" Fred asked in confusion and anger. "Are you supposed to be your hero or something? Shouldn't you be upset by all this? How the hell could you talk to her like that?" There was a pause as Goku looked over at Riley's retreating form. "She's better off this way," Gogo replied. "I was trying to tell her before these things don't work out. Now she knows." You don't actually believe that," Fred whispered in shock. Gogo paused again, looking pointedly at both Honey and Wasabi, before turning her gaze back towards Fred. "Why wouldn't I?" Gogo replied pointedly. "Well, regardless as you think, we can't just let her walk by herself, Fred argued. "I mean, we have a flying van after all." "About that," Tip spoke up, prompting the others to look at her. As they did, Tip suddenly tossed the keys to Wasabi's van, hitting the unsuspecting boy in the face. "Ow!" Hiro cried out in surprised pain, his hands flying up to his face as the keys fell to the ground with a jingle. "What was that for?" "I figured you wanted those back," Tip replied with a shrug. "Since I'm taking off and everything." "Oh, Tip. Not you too." "Taking off?" Honey questioned. "Tip, what do you mean?" "Well, since Riley is leaving, I figured I'd get out of here too," Tip explained. "What do you mean?" Wasabi questioned. "You realize why I was ever here, right?" Tip questioned as she glanced around at the others, her tone of voice like she was talking to children. "Why I became involved in all of this?" There was a quiet moment as the others glanced at each other in confusion. "It's because of Riley," Tip said, answering her own question. "The only reason I know any of you is because of her. The only reason I'm here is because of her. So, if she's out, then so am I." "But what about yokai?" Fred questioned. Like Riley said, I'm sure you guys can handle it, Tip replied with a shrug. You don't need a normal girl like me for that. But, Hiro muttered desperately. But you're the only one who could pilot the van. Tip paused as she glanced over at the van before turning her attention back towards the others. That sounds like your problem, not mine, Tip observed with a smirk. So good luck with that. You're just going to walk away? Hiro demanded angrily. You're not going to even help me stop the guy who killed my brother? I thought you were my friend. You had a chance to be, Tip replied, calmly. But now you're just a jerk that my friend used to like. With that, Tip turned away and began moving away from them, jogging in an effort to catch up with Riley, leaving everyone to watch her go in stunned silence. Fine! Hiro suddenly shouted, catching the others off guard as he glared at Tip's retreating form. Who needs you? We'll take yokai down ourselves! Jerk. With a capital J-E-R-K. Jerk! Hiro... Wasabi spoke up hesitantly as Hiro turned around and made his way over to Baymax. How exactly are we going to get to Akuma Island without Tip? The van isn't the only thing we've got that can fly, Hiro said as he climbed up onto Baymax's back, before giving his friends a hard look from over the robot's shoulder. Now, do you guys want to stop a supervillain or not? And that's the end. Officer's note, lots of drama in this one. Kind of got away from me, but I think it turned out pretty well. Let me know what you guys think. Well, here's what I think. Alright. I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here. I can understand Hiro being frustrated and angry due to the fact that they're about to confront the guy who may have had a role in Tadashi's death. I can understand that. But at the same time, it is completely inexcusable for the way he talked to both Riley and Tip. I mean, Hiro knows that Riley wants to help him, and he doesn't even bother to give her something of an upgrade so that she can help out. Yes, he might put her in danger. Yes, there's the fact that her parents will be worried about her. But still, that was just complete cruelness on Hiro's part right there. Especially when he said that he wasn't going to give Riley any upgrades. I just felt like he was... I just literally felt like, are you kidding me, man? Especially if I read the story all the way through up to this point. And Tip's decision, I completely understand. In the beginning, Tip did have more of a focus, but the fact that she didn't even get an upgrade too, despite O being there, I think Tip was right to say that the only reason that she stuck around was because of Riley's companionship. Those two are the best of pals, and they will stick up to each other no matter what. So I agree with Tip deciding to leave, because in the end, I don't really think this chapter could have ended any other way. With Hiro basically talking down to Riley like that. And again, I can understand why everyone would want to protect her. Would want to protect Riley, because they don't want her to accidentally go through another incident after the fire. But at the same time, they're just doubting her. There's so much she could do for them, and she has been learning to control her powers through Tai Chi, as she and I have said before, and yet they won't even give her a chance. They won't even give her a chance to prove it, to prove herself. And it's just not on. It's not freaking on. Well, I think I've said all I'm capable of saying about this chapter. And now our team is now down to 7, and we're going to have to call it the Big Hero 7 now, because Hiro kicked Riley off the team, because if it's trying to protect her, then understand if it's but still, he didn't really have any right to, just because he wanted to keep her safe, and Tip has gone after Riley. All this before they can actually get to Akuma Island and face yokai. So, yeah. things are pretty much going to escalate in the next chapter, I can tell. So, guys, I'll see you in the next chapter. And until then, I'm the Masked Ranger saying the story is definitely taking a turn for the interesting. So, I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, take care and keep moving forward.